Good morning, Hum Hum community. This is Dr. Eileen Scholes. I am one of the mental health practitioners for Hum Hum, and I lead the Conscious Date Practice Group bi-weekly on Saturdays. It meets at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I also lead pre and post date sessions. So today I'm actually going to be talking about living imagination. And what that is living as if the things that you imagine in your mind, in your heart space, those things that you visualize for yourself, actually living as if that's occurring now. So it's using the power of imagination to experience the highest expression of our lives. So living as if, I'd like for you to think about, how do you imagine yourself? What do you see yourself as? Do you see yourself as interesting? Do you see yourself as intriguing? Do you visualize yourself as strong, interesting, friendly? Studies from the University of Colorado took a look at imagination, and they rendered these results. And so, like so many of the topics that we discuss in the Conscious Date group, imagination is often associated with childhood, which isn't really that surprising. Through the process of activating imagination, we conjure up images that have never been seen before. So it's really interesting. If you think about imagining, you are actually creating in your mind something that's never been created before. Even if it's something that someone else has thought, or you've even thought about it, the moment that you are in the process of imagining, you're actually creating something brand new. So that's really exciting. So imagination is actually considered a complex brain booster that is very powerful for shaping our lives. Practicing imagination creates a way of thinking that is not standard for most people. And I thought that research was interesting, because you would think, with all the creative people we have in the world, that people are probably imagining things all of the time. But a lot of people have so many responsibilities. They've got kids, they've got bills, they've maybe got an intense job. Many people stay more on the left brain side and are in analyzation mode or strategy mode. And so not as many people are actually using imagination as a tool for day-to-day life as you might actually think. So imagination works along with real life knowledge and real life experience. And this is a very, very powerful brain booster tool. When you take your life experience, your real life knowledge, and you mix it with what you imagine your life to be, that is where the magic exists. And in this space of imagination, not only are we creating scenarios that are exciting to us, but the research shows that this is where problem solving actually occurs. When you can imagine and you can add detail and you can add color and you can add scents and flavor and ambiance to all that you're imagining, the brain is boosted and problem solving skills become more available. It's so interesting to me. Imagination is considered a crucial factor in developing empathy. So imagine if you are creating more empathy through the process of imagination, the empathy can be extended to you. Imagine the self-compassion, the self-love, the self-care, the self-validation, and the self-acceptance you can give to yourself just by implementing imagination into your daily habits. So imagination also activates creative skills and overall brain work. In one hypothesis, imagination is seen as a network. And in this network, the prefrontal cortex plays a crucial function as chief coordinator. So this chief coordinator sends signals to different networks of neurons in the brain. And this process creates images that wouldn't normally be associated together. So this is a really interesting, the coordinator starts to bring all of these different ideas, different neural paths together, and helps you to create pictures, images, ideas, thoughts that weren't previously on the radar screen. This process where this coordinator sends all these signals together, to different networks of the neurons, is called mental synthesis. And some researchers believe that this mental synthesis and lifelong imaginative pursuits are late in childhood, like I said earlier. Imagination allows your brain to create new responses to old problems and paradigms and situations. The University of Colorado did a study that concluded that imagination can reduce fear and anxiety-related disorders by helping people simply overcome them with their imaginings. This research confirms that imagination is a neurological reality that can impact our brains and our bodies in ways that matter for our well-being. This is a quote from Tor Wager, who's the director of the Cognitive and Affective Neuroscience Laboratory at Colorado University, Boulder. He's also the co-senior author of the paper published in the journal Neuron. So these novel findings, on imagination bridge a long-standing gap between clinical practice and cognitive neuroscience. And that's a quote from author Marianne Comella-Redden. It's just fascinating to me as I think about all of this research on imagination. There's a little bit of conflicting research, but the newest research that I've done, that I've seen, shows that the brain really doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's imagined. Now, some of the research several years ago said that was different. What we know is that the neural pathways of imagination do travel differently than the real life occurrences. So they're sort of going in different directions, but the brain ultimately, some part of the brain doesn't recognize a discrepancy. And so if you do a really good job of imagining your life being different or cultivating a dream and really see it, in your mind's eye, in your third eye, in your heart space, the brain really doesn't distinguish between whether that's actually real or not, which is why you're able oftentimes to activate or self-actualize that goal or that dream. Through imagination, the brain can unlearn to be afraid. We know that from some of the neuroscience. It can also learn to be empowered, strong, and determined. So exciting. Statistically, real and imagined possibilities are not different at the whole brain level, and imagination works just as well as other brain functions. There's another study that suggests that imagination may be a more powerful tool than previously believed for updating memory. So think about that. If we begin, let's say that we've struggled with fear or trauma, or just, something that was embarrassing, or guilt or shame, and we begin to imagine the scenario differently. I do this actually with my clients. We know we can't change what's actually happened. It's happened. And we've created neural paths around every experience that we've ever been through. However, what we do have the luxury of doing with imagination is changing how we perceive ourselves in that situation. We can go back and redo conversations. We can go back and redo the way we felt about ourselves while that experience was happening. And we do this all with imagination and, of course, breath, right? We do everything with breath because diaphragmatic breathing and all of the beautiful breath techniques that we talk about in Hum Hum, practice makes practice, these things calm the nervous system. They actually help us balance the right and left brain, and they sort of alleviate what is no longer serving, what's no longer needed at the brain level, what we don't need to think about, whatever neuropaths that are not helpful. We actually don't get rid of them, but we can neutralize them and make them non-effective by creating new neuropaths, new imaginings, as well as breathing, so that our whole body, our brain and body, can sync up and work together effectively. So if you have a memory that is no longer useful or is crippling you, you can use imagination to change it, to reconsolidate it, to update the way you think about the experience. And this is just a really beautiful technique to feel like you have a grip on your life, like you have laser sharp control, iron grip control on your life. Use imagination to change, to reconfigure, to reconsolidate the things from the past, the memories that no longer serve, the memories that aren't helpful. And so how do we, bring this idea of imagination into our current life, our everyday experience? So imagination is becoming more of a clinical tool used in therapy to help improve clients' overall quality of life. We are using imagination with affirmations, with breath, and with our other clinical tools to help our clients begin in the here and now to reconceptualize their lives, to reinvent, to give themselves permission to start anew, no matter what they've been through: trauma, drama, pain, low self-esteem, depression, anxiety, debilitating labels, whatever they've been through imagination and other clinical tools, we're helping our clients begin to reconceptualize their reality and create anew in the present moment. So as you are incorporating imagination, you want to pay attention to what you're imagining, because it's so powerful. It can change memories. It can help you unlearn fear. It can empower you. It can strengthen you. But obviously, as wonderful as imagination can be, if we're imagining things that are negative or unhealthy, we could quickly spiral down into depression, anxiety, panic, fear. So we want to create imagination practices. We want to actually be diligent and intentional about what we choose to imagine. So how do we use imagination to activate live life potential in the here and now? What is living imagination? And this is the subject of our conscious date practice group today that meets at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we'll be exploring ways to create your dream experience by living as if you are already having that experience now. Some tips to consider are vision. What is the vision that you have for your life? And hi everyone who's waving to me. Thanks for joining. What is the vision that you have for your life? Really spend some time thinking about that. Instead of having a humdrum, just, routine without imagination, just, you wake up, you get up, maybe you exercise, you go to work and you eat, and then you come home, rinse and repeat. What is the vision that you have for your life? What would you like to change? What inspires you? And what can you imagine as you begin to think about that vision? And when we're imagining, the more research shows, the more color, the more you add to that vision, the more it becomes alive. This is, how the law of attraction works. This is how dream boards work, vision boards. When you create a vision board and you look at that vision board every day, if you can insert a picture of yourself in that vision board, seeing yourself traveling, seeing yourself getting that degree, seeing yourself promoted or getting that better job or starting your own business or finding the love of your life, insert yourself in the picture, add color, add sound, add, you can have scents. And what do I mean by scents? It could be incense, it could be essential oils, it could be beautiful smells. I know around the holidays, I just take a pot of boiling water, I add fresh raw cranberries, cinnamon, nutmeg, I might add vanilla, just different flavors, cloves, and I'll just let that simmer, and it lets the whole house smells, pretty magical. It smells great. So be creative in whatever sense you even add to your imaginings. The more color, the more you can see it, the more you can visualize it. Even add words, affirmations, declarations, positive statements to your vision. If you're journaling those visions or creating a vision board, it comes alive, it pops, in your heart space. It pops in your mind, it pops in your brain. And this is how we begin to manifest. This is how we begin to activate things. A lot of times people think that manifesting is just this mystical, magical thing that doesn't have any science behind it. But there's a lot of science. There's a lot of breathing. Sometimes there's a lot of yoga. Sometimes there's a lot of planning and strategizing and journaling and declaring, and claiming and reinventing. So manifesting really does have a lot of different components. But back to imagination, creativity. Be expansive and multidimensional when you are creating a vision for yourself and you are imagining all the infinite possibilities of your life. Don't create limits. Be limitless in your thinking. In an infinite world, there are multidimensional possibilities. There's nobody else on the planet uniquely like you. Even if you're a twin, you are unique in your own creations, your own imaginations, your own visions. So just be expansive in what you can create. Don't limit yourself. Don't say, well, it would be nice if I could one day have this little itty bitty. No, think big. Of course, be true and be authentic to yourself, but think out of the box. Think about things that are not currently on the radar screen. Give yourself permission to access ideas, creativity, add color, be really excited about what you can imagine for your life, even if it's currently not on the radar screen. And of course, do that with breath and intention. Also, mindset. What mindset is needed for you to be your personal best? Really think about that. So if you're going to start incorporating imagination into your day-to-day experience, day-to-day, moment to moment, second to second, what type of mindset do you have to have? So we've talked about vision, we've talked about creativity, being expansive. We're talking now about mindset, which is a little bit different than vision. Vision is the big picture, the conceptualization of your life. Mindset is the attitude, the way you choose to show up. It's the strategy. It's the day-to-day habits, right? It's the routine of choosing to be positive and self-affirming and self-loving and self-accepting. It's the choice to make decisions that serve your highest good on all levels, your diet, your physical fitness routine, the relationships that you have, what you tolerate, what you don't tolerate, the boundaries that you set, etc. Mindset. And then positive intention. So as you're thinking about positive intention, who are you? Who could you be? What do you want to be? What could you be if you chose to be something more expansive, something more aligned with the truth of who you are? Who could you be and what could you be? What can you imagine you could offer as your service work if you were your personal best? So intention. This is who you are. This is how you choose to show up. Imagine that and embody that. Positive intention. I choose to show up as the highest and best self. I choose the highest evolutionary unfolding of my life purpose and my life dream. And then the next thing is healthy self-conceptualization. So choosing to view yourself as this beautiful masterpiece, and we're going to actually be talking about masterpiece in the class today in our Conscious State group. We're going to be talking about how you are your own masterpiece. And if you visualize yourself as your own masterpiece and use imagination and use color, all of the beauty that begins to unfold, all that, the ripple effect of choosing to see yourself as your own masterpiece. So powerful. So healthy conceptualization, choosing to, even though you have the ability to look at all the things you're doing wrong, choosing to only see all that you're doing well. Now, of course, be realistic, right? Sometimes we have to go into our own garden and pull the weeds out because there's things that need improvement, and that's okay. It's okay to be honest and go in and pull the weeds out of our own garden, nourish, prune, cultivate, nurture, all of those things. But we also want to conceptualize the garden or the masterpiece or the canvas that we're launching from as good, as beautiful, as positive, as healthy, as wonderful, as something that adds value to this world. So choosing, as you're imagining, choosing to have affirmations and declarations such as, I am a person of value. I'm willing to share this value with others. I know that the universe, the divine, creation, nature, God, whatever you identify with and whatever resonates, will reciprocate the value that I share. And therefore, I am willing and open to sharing my value with others. That's a positive intention that comes from conceptualizing yourself as valuable, as beautiful. So, imagination is a very powerful tool. It is a brain booster. It is the catalyst for great problem-solving skills. It has been linked to helping you develop empathy inwardly and outwardly, and it is a wonderful way to reinvent ourselves. It is a wonderful tool to implement in all of our other positive daily practices so that we can feel like we've got a grip on this current life, but that we're not limited to this current experience. We have unlimited possibilities in an infinite universe where we are multidimensional beings. We've got, a right brain, we've got a left brain, and we've got the ability to strategize, and we've got the ability to be creative. When we bring those together with breath, with positive intention, and imagine unlimited possibilities, this is how we begin to reinvent and recreate ourselves. So how is this related to dating? I did a talk a couple of weeks ago on the art of play. And really, if you think about it, imagination is an extension of playfulness, right? It really is. It gives us permission in our adult life to recreate and reinvent and playfully and creatively and just decide that we want to expand who we are and how we're showing up. So as far as dating goes, if we can imagine ourselves as valuable, if we can imagine ourselves as positive, as, people who have something to offer and therefore deserve to attract someone or people who can match our energy, if we can imagine that, then we're creating the neurons, we're creating the neural paths around that imagining. We are also creating pheromones that align with those neuropaths. So we're increasing our attractability by emanating hormones to others that we are strong, we are confident, we do believe in ourselves, we know we have value, we know our worth, and we are willing to share that value and that worth with others who are in alignment with our, our vibration, our frequency, our energy signature, and the way that we show up. So as you participate in your dating journey and your dating adventure, I encourage you and invite you to bring in imagination. If you can imagine that you were the person of your own dreams, what does that person look like? How do they dress? How do they wear their hair? What do they talk about? What makes them interesting? What makes them strong? What makes them attractive and electric? When you know that, when you begin to imagine yourself as that dream you, not something fake, because of course, and we're going to talk about this in the group today, we want to launch from authenticity. So while we're imagining this beautiful new us, we do want it to be rooted and grounded in who we are as authentic beings, right? I'm probably not going to be blonde, blue-eyed in this lifetime. I mean, I guess I could play around and imagine it, right? That might be fun. But the chances of me actually manifesting that, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's not possible, but it's probably not going to happen. So, within my physical structure, my mental structure, my intellect, my gifts, my talents, the way I move through the world, I'm going to imagine, I'm going to launch new possibilities, beautiful possibilities from within my structure, so I can be realistic. Imagination is fun and it's positive and it's beautiful, but of course we do want to stay grounded. I'm conceptualizing imagination as positive, and I talked about how it is used, in clinical practice to help clients just visualize a new platform or paradigm for themselves. But obviously, if we don't stay grounded, we could easily spiral down and move into what's called magical thinking. And in a spiritual context, magical thinking is wonderful, but in a clinical context, magical thinking is one of those things that's leading towards psychosis. So obviously we want to stay grounded as we're imagine unlimited possibilities within the framework, right, and the structure that we are existing in. So that is my contribution on imagination. I encourage you all to have fun with this, play around with this, see what you begin to create and manifest by just imagining your life differently. Have fun with it. For those of you that are able to join us today at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time at the Hum Hum Conscious State Practice Group, we'd love to see you there. It is based on donation. So feel free to come and join. And we also will be having yoga breath practice 20 minutes before, so approximately 9:40 Pacific Standard Time. If you're interested, please come and participate. I love the Hum Hum community. I just want to say thank you, dear Alexandra, and all of the team that are, contributing with your beautiful gifts to help our planet be better, to inspire people to not give up on dating, to feel good about themselves, to conceptualize dating through self-awareness and wholeness and self-love. I just truly honor you, Alexandra, and all of the beautiful practitioners and all of the participants and customers that I've met, either in one-on-one, pre and post-date sessions, or our conscious state, practice group. It's been wonderful to meet all of you. I've been really inspired by the high level, the high quality, the high value, high vibration tribe that we are and that we are creating together. So thank you so much. Blessings to all of you. Thank you, those of you that are joining now and on the replay. Have a really wonderful day. And remember, live imagination. Bye.